the secret space weapons that could destroy the world for centuries. Warfare has remained bound to the limits of land, sea, and air. But as humanity's technological advancement soared, a new frontier emerged, the boundless void of space. For decades, governments have secretly researched, developed, and even tested weapons capable of turning outer space into the ultimate battlefield. But what if these secret space weapons already exist? What if they hold the power to alter the balance of global power, or worse, destroy the world? The Cold War. The beginning of space weaponization. To understand today's secret space weapons, we have to go back to the height of the Cold War, the era when the US and the Soviet Union engaged in a technological arms race that extended beyond Earth's surface. Both superpowers recognized the potential of space, not just for exploration, but for military dominance. In 1958, President Dwight D. Eisenhower established NASA as a civilian space agency, while at the same time, the US military created the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, later known as DARPA. The goal? To ensure the US maintained superiority in space technology. Around the same time, the Soviet Union was also working on military applications for space, launching the world's first satellite, Sputnik 1, in 1957. This event sent shockwaves through the US government, sparking a desperate race to militarize space. One of the earliest known space weapon concepts was the Project Thor initiative, a US military project theorizing the use of orbital kinetic weapons, often called rods from God. These were tungsten rods that, when dropped from orbit, could strike targets on Earth with the force of a nuclear explosion without the radiation. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was working on a classified project called Almaz, a series of space stations equipped with a 23mm Richter cannon, making them the first armed spacecraft in history. In 1974, Soviet cosmonauts aboard Almaz reportedly test-fired this weapon in space, marking a chilling moment in history, where war entered the cosmos. The Star Wars program, Reagan's space defense initiative. Fast forward to the 1980s. President Ronald Reagan introduced one of the most ambitious and controversial military space programs ever conceived, the Strategic Defense Initiative (SDI), famously dubbed Star Wars. The goal of SDI was to develop a futuristic defense system that could detect and destroy incoming nuclear missiles from space before they could reach their targets. This initiative proposed advanced technologies such as space-based lasers, particle beam weapons, and missile intercepting satellites. While critics doubted its feasibility, the mere existence of SDI sent a strong message to the Soviet Union. The US was determined to dominate space warfare. Some reports suggest that certain aspects of SDI were later repurposed into classified military projects, some of which remain undisclosed to the public. Modern space-based weapons. The hidden arsenal of the Cold War ended in 1991. The space arms race never truly stopped. In fact, today, multiple nations, including the US, Russia, and China, have been developing advanced space-based weapons, many of which remain top secret. 1. Kinetic bombardment systems, rods from God. While the concept of kinetic bombardment dates back to Project Thor, recent advancements in satellite technology have brought it closer to reality. These weapons involve dropping tungsten rods from low Earth orbit (LEO) at hypersonic speeds, delivering devastating kinetic energy upon impact. Unlike nuclear weapons, these space spears leave no radiation, making them an attractive option for strategic strikes with minimal collateral damage. 2. Directed energy weapons. JUICE space laser weapons are no longer science fiction. Several countries are investing in directed energy weapons JUICE that could be mounted on satellites to disable enemy spacecraft, drones, or even terrestrial targets. The US Air Force and NASA have tested high-powered laser systems capable of blinding or even destroying incoming missiles. Some reports suggest that classified laser satellites could already be operational in orbit. 3. Cyber warfare and satellite jamming. Modern warfare isn't just about physical destruction. Nations are now competing in electronic and cyber warfare, targeting GPS, communication, and reconnaissance satellites. China and Russia have developed jamming technologies capable of disrupting enemy satellites, rendering military operations blind and vulnerable. The development of anti-satellite ASAT weapons has also increased, with multiple countries testing missiles designed to destroy satellites in orbit. 4. Hypersonic space weapons. Hypersonic weapons. Missiles that travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 are now entering space-based military strategies. Both the US and China are developing hypersonic glide vehicles HGVs, which can be launched into space and then re-enter the atmosphere at high speeds, making them nearly impossible to intercept. Russia and China. The new space arms race in recent years. Russia and China have accelerated their own military space programs. Russia's Noodle anti-satellite missile system has been tested multiple times, proving that Moscow has the capability to destroy enemy satellites. Meanwhile, China has deployed Shijian-17, a satellite equipped with a robotic arm capable of grappling and disabling enemy satellites. Additionally, leaked intelligence reports suggest that China has experimented with sea-orbital weapons, small satellites that could covertly approach and sabotage other nations' space assets. The future of space warfare, militarization of space, has reached a point where experts fear the possibility of a space-based arms race, leading to an all-out global conflict. Nations are developing not only offensive weapons, but also defense mechanisms like space shield satellites designed to intercept and destroy enemy weapons before they reach their targets. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, signed by over 100 nations, prohibits the placement of nuclear weapons or other weapons of mass destruction in space. However, it does not explicitly ban conventional space-based weapons, leaving loopholes that modern military programs continue to exploit. The question remains, how long before the first war in space becomes a reality? With space technology advancing at an unprecedented pace, the future of warfare may not be fought on land, sea, or air, but above us, in the vast, silent battlefield of space. One thing is certain, the race for space dominance is far from over, and the weapons of tomorrow may already be orbiting above us, hidden from public view, waiting for the moment they are unleashed.